voice of the Arizona Cardinals fan club, the Bird Gang. Now with your host, Earl Burnett, a.k.a. Casual E.
Bird Gang on three. One, two, three. Bird Gang.
And welcome again, Bird Gang, Suns Nation, and all of you wonderful fans out there of all Arizona sports. It is another lovely edition of the Casual Sports Show right here on KSRNAZ.com, the hottest radio station on the web, bar none. And now that everything's turning to the web because there's no TV, I guarantee you it is the hottest radio station or internet station on the web. Tonight we have a hell of a show. We got some guests here, as you can see on the panel there. The normal guest would usually be me and Sean. You see my man Greg Moore here from AZ Central. And of course, the one and only multitastic Javon Adams, a.k.a. J-LUV, as y'all know him better as. So this is another edition of the Casual Sports Show. Y'all know what we do every Monday. We bring you the Arizona sports, the Cardinal stuff, everything we can when we have it, and we're going to try to keep doing these shows as much as we can. You want to follow us and hit us up on all of our four social media outlets: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube page, and of course, what's the other one, Sean?
You said Facebook. We got Twitter, Instagram, YouTube,
Twitter,
Facebook,
yeah. I can't keep up with
Google
all.
Plus. We have all of it.
Keep up with all of that stuff, but they all do have the same tab with Casual Sports. That is Kazual with a Z at the end of the word sports. And let me turn my phone down because I'm getting an echo over here. There we go.
Shame on you.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight, man?
Can't complain, man.
Yeah,
right.
doing good. Doing good.
Yeah, these
right.
boxes are loaded, man. I might have to find a bigger computer. I don't know if that's how that works, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, don't worry about that stuff, man. We good. We good. Let's go ahead and do what we normally do about this time, see what's going on, and we can talk about what's in the world of sports. All right. We kind of like got that towel. We squeezing it out. We squeezing it out. And we trying to get some content out of this thing, man. We trying to find something to talk about. But there's still some things out there. There's a lot going on. We can talk about, of course, where the Cardinals have gone and their moves they've made and what's going to be coming up in the draft. I'm pretty sure there's 1,000 mock drafts out there we can discuss. Governor Ducey put it down on us today. Told us stay home until April 30th, which happens to be my birthday and the day before Sean's birthday.
After you were close.
Before
30th. I'm 29. I'm 29. You're 30.
29. Mine is the day they say we're supposed to come out of this quarantine.
You're gonna party on your birthday.
I had Michelle hit me up and said we got to do a Facebook party for you on that day. 'Cause ain't nobody coming to no real party, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that. We can also get a little bit into some things that are going down with some sports. Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods might be putting something together. We can talk about this virus thing if you guys want to get into that. I want to start off with this subject, if you guys are with me on this. What is you guys' take on the heat that Kirk Herbstreit is taking with his comments that he made about all of sports may not be happening? Greg, what's your take on that, Greg?
I'll jump in real quick on
Okay.
that one. I think it's unfortunate because what you have to realize is that I think he's just trying to be pragmatic when it comes to it. So if you're trying to make sure that what we keep hearing is, the smoothing. So trying to instead of having a big peak, so try to have more of a smoothing effect. It might mean that there's the way that we typically enjoy sports will have to change. And people don't want to hear that. What they want to hear, and I understand there's hope that's involved in this. You have hope and faith. So you hope that by September, everything is all back to normal. But I think that might be a little bit too optimistic and maybe too aggressive of a plan to be able to. And so I think it's unfortunate. People love to hate. I don't care if it's if it's a pandemic or if it's in if everything is going according to plan. People love to hate, and that's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we just take a second. First of all, that's a really great point, right? People do love to hate. They
Right.
do. I think to build on that, if we we take a second just to acknowledge that everybody is frustrated, everybody's afraid, like let's just think about the root of what's causing that, right? Because we saw the media taking a lot of hits, the media, as if there is such a thing. The media is blowing this out of proportion. The media is hyping this up. Listen, this show is the media.
That's
My
right.
organization, the Arizona Republic, is the media.
Absolutely.
The Washington Post is the media. NBC has affiliates in every city. None of these organizations have the same newsrooms, the same directors, the same information. So what happens is every channel somebody goes to, they feel like they're getting inundated with information that really challenges their beliefs on what life is and what life ought to be. And frankly, guys, it's scaring people, right?
Exactly.
And so rather than accept some information that scares you, it's easier to block it off. Well, it's not that bad, it's just the flu. Or it's the media hyping it up and overblowing it. Or we'll be okay if we just, it's like, guys, look, let's just all come to this and be as rational and reasonable and mature as we can about this. They don't cancel the NBA over the flu.
That's right. That's good point. Good point.
Right? So then let's us lead that charge to help our friends and family members and the internet trolls and whomever who's having a hard time processing this. Let's just lead that charge to help them through it, because that's all we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the conspiracy theorists are going to come out. So, I mean,
I heard a beauty of a conspiracy theory. Did you guys hear the one about the school?
nuh-uh. Go
The
ahead.
5G law?
No, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, drop it now.
Okay.
Drop it.
So there's a conspiracy theory that I've seen floating around Facebook that has to do with new internet technology for cell phones. And there had to be a covert installation, and the kids had to be out of school for it.
Oh, no.
Which is hilarious.
That's crazy.
Because people
Are
listen,
dying.
I can't. No, wait. Here's why it's funny. If my Beats pill and my phone don't connect anymore, I lose my whole afternoon trying to get them things to reconnect. If my router goes out and I have to unplug it, all I'm saying is that technology's complicated.
Right.
You couldn't possibly install towers on every school without it involving like millions of people to do it. And I don't know about you guys, but 2 people can keep a secret if one of them's dead. Like, there's no way we wouldn't know. Like, we would know.
True.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I love a
it's
good
great.
conspiracy
It's-
theory,
it's
but that
fun.
one's wild.
Because you guys know that. Well, you guys know that my wife works in the healthcare industry.
too.
So does your wife, and so it's wild, the realities of it. And so when
Right.
people, what is it when people there? If there's what is there's the movie The Line from Jim Carrey. So you're saying there's a chance where if we can try to play a little bit, do you think there's a 1% chance? Well, yeah, maybe there's a 1% chance. Okay, so we got a 1% chance, right? So you're saying we got a 1% chance, dog. And because Kirk Herbstreit says, nah, man, we're not playing. Oh man, why are you trying to dampen my hopes? When again, like you were saying, you have to be realistic about this. And so you know, Earl and Sean know that I'm a runner, so I have to adjust the way that I run just because that's the way it is now.
Yeah.
Right.
It is what it is. And so you have to try to adjust to that and what this new norm will be. And maybe it'll be 3 months, 5 months, 10 months, whatever.
Right.
We just don't know, but we have to make those adjustments and be flexible about that.
Hey, but J-Love, you just gave me a great visual on, man. Now I'm picturing you zigzagging across the street with social distance.
A 3-mile run turns into 40.
Walking the dog, he crosses the street.
Yeah.
True that.
Hey, so Sean, hey, Sean. So is it something? Because I know you mostly the conspiracy theorists. Is it something they're not telling us? Because what Greg just said makes a good point. Ain't nobody gonna cancel all these sporting events for the flu. What are they not telling us, dude?
There's a lot that there's a lot we don't know about anything. Earl, I mean, come on. Was the moon landing real? Is the Earth really round? I mean, who's gonna know? Obviously, there's tons of conspiracy theories out there. I'm not gonna subscribe to the Kyrie Irving theories yet. I'm not there yet. I've been in my house for 2 weeks. 2 more weeks, I might be there. But with sports in particular, relating that to what's going on with schools being now done for the year, going to virtual learning or none at all, depending on what the school can handle. There goes to a certain point in sports where once you reach a certain distance of not hitting those milestones to get a season off the ground as far as the NFL is concerned, or reclaiming what was already going for the NBA, you have to cut it, because you can't just come back 3 months later and expect them to play with 20 more games and playoffs. And then how do you start next season and what happens? And you're going to end up having all 4 sports at the same time playing. I mean, that's going to be insane. So they have to cut certain things off and just kind of call it a lost season and maybe just go straight to playoffs or what. But I don't know what's going to happen.
Sean, that's a really good. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Sean.
Right.
And to build on something that J-LUV said, we do want to stop and acknowledge that people are dying, right?
Yeah,
and that people are scared and that people are hurting. We really do need to stop and acknowledge that we have a really privileged position, that we're really blessed to be able to argue over sports, right? That's a wonderful space that we're in. So one thing I think a lot about is how much people's livelihoods are tied up in sports, right? What I mean to say is that Coca-Cola advertises with the NFL, right? Like Budweiser advertises with the NFL. So there's a lot of money there. Mm-hmm. I think that for the sake of competition, it's best to keep the season tight. But I think that all these sponsors and everybody looking at all this money that they're losing, if there's an opportunity to recoup any of those losses, they're going to do what they can to get a season out of it, even up to and including doing what they used to do when I used to cover the NBA D-League in Columbus, Georgia. I used to cover the Columbus River Dragons back when Smush Parker played in the D-League.
Ooh.
Back when it still called it the D-League.
It's a throwback.
Right? There you go. I got a Laker guy. They had a showcase on MLK Day where every NBA D-League team came, boom, and they played all the games right there. I'm hearing, based on a Brian Windhorst report on ESPN, something I read on something that the Associated Press wrote about how it's going in China, how it might go in South Korea. They're starting to restart these sports leagues, and it could be like what they did in the D-League, where they bring different teams into one location, play the games. I think whatever is possible is going to be on the table due to the unprecedented circumstances that we're dealing with right now in this moment.
Right.
I'm with you on that 100%. I think what we're really up against is time. I mean, and that's it. We're up against time. Nobody knows the time limit. Nobody knows how this thing's going to go. And Herbstreit, he got a lot of heat for what he said, but he's 100% correct, and I agree with them. I can only see this thing when you look at it in a realistic state. I'm like, the only way this thing could be taken control of is we have a vaccine. That's the only way. I mean, telling us to quarantine, okay, that's fine, but that can only slow it down to a point. It's not going to stop the virus. To stop it or to control it to where you can have an NBA game, somebody gets sick, just, you need to get a shot and bam, you cool. You don't have to worry about it. And then it can subside to where you don't have to, this thing's not killing people. It's just kind of, you're just sick and, you get the little vaccine and bam, you're okay, just like the flu did. So I think he was right. I think he was on point when he said, we got to look at the reality of this thing. The reality of this thing, like you said earlier, people are dying from this thing. We have no clue what it is. And so you got leagues like NCAA talking about moving stuff up faster to come back faster. And I mean, you got all these ideas that are popping off, and everybody's missing the one point is this thing ain't going anywhere.
Here's one of the things. This takes me back to my Focus days. Focus with J-LUV. This is one of the things.
Bring it back, but never did. What happened?
Now is the time for creators to come back. Right?
There you go.
But so here's the interesting thing, though. I subscribe to what like a Bomani Jones would say. It's real when the money is saying, when the money, as you were mentioning, Greg, about Coca-Cola, etc. When the money is saying, damn, all right, I guess we gotta wait. I guess we gotta stop. Because the money is saying, I want all of this exposure. The networks with the Olympics, etc., are saying, no, we have billions of dollars wrapped into sponsorships.
Right.
And it's, they were waiting until the very last
very
minute
last.
to say, all right, I guess we can move it like a day. No, we got to move it a year. All right, I guess we can move it. I guess we can move it a year. It's kind of like the Fun saying he's sorry back in the day. He just couldn't say the word, and they just had to say that they had to reschedule it because there's so much money
involved.
On the table. And that's so you know it's real when the money is saying we gotta wait.
Well, look, Javon, what you said there, man, really, you said it. It's focus, right? Everybody is focused on the right spot, and that's on saving lives and doing the right thing by the most people possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't work at the CDC, right? I don't know if you guys know this. Like, I'm a really smart dude, but I'm not a doctor, right? So I'm reading sources of information that I believe to be reputable. There was a wonderful story from the Washington Post that came with a graphic with these little dots that were bopping around. And one of the things that it talked about was slowing the spread to allow people who get sick, then recover, they'll have immunity. And when those people get back out, they can neither catch nor spread the disease that comes from coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need that to build up. And then that slows the spread to the point that when people catch it, it can be treated, right? So, because what happens if everybody gets it all at once, it overwhelms the healthcare system. If it overwhelms the healthcare system, people die needlessly.
Yeah.
With any disease, people are going to die, but you can save a lot of lives if there's a manageable number of people coming through the system all at once. And again, I'm just reading a lot of stuff, right? I'm just reading a lot of stuff.
Let me interject in there a little bit, Greg. You just said something. I mean, I had a question on Saturday morning on Easy Sports Talk, which is where Jay's show Saturday morning on NBC.
Yeah.
1060. The question was about that immunity, and it was like, okay, if you get it, your body will build up an immunity. That's what I'm talking. My wife is in the healthcare. She tells me your body should build up an immunity to that particular virus.
Right.
But that virus, what the doctor said that you guys had on, Jay, said that there are different strands of that virus. Yeah. So now you're talking about you can still catch something else that's strand from that virus.
Yeah.
So so if it mutates again, that's a scary proposition.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I don't know that we're in that spot.
Right.
The stuff I've been reading lately is less medical, and it's more about like the reaction to it, the public policy, the best practices, decision making.
Right.
But what we ain't really talking about is the fact that COVID-19 is racist. I don't like that. You think I'm playing?
How you figure?
Coronavirus is racist. Look, I can work from home, right? But there's a lot of people who can't work from home. There's a lot of people who don't have Wi-Fi. They don't have the kind of jobs that allow them to do that. I'm in a wonderfully privileged position, but there's a lot of black and brown people in the world who aren't in that space.
Right.
There's a lot of really, really rich people who are able to leave, right? Like they're able to go from their homes in like more densely populated areas to their summer homes in less densely populated areas. We're finding that there's a lot of kids who don't have food in their homes right now. They eat at school. They eat their lunch, their breakfast at school. A preponderance of those kids happen to be black and brown. I really am afraid that this damn thing is something that we've seen, that we've come to deal with in America, that race is always a factor no matter what it is that we're dealing with. So I'm kind of tired of people saying to me, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, whatever. It's just not true. Look, if you're rich enough, you can get a test. If you're in the NBA, you can get a test. And that's not race. That's dealing with money. But I think those two things go hand in hand far too often in our country. Mm-hmm. But that really is bugging me that it's so uneven for between the haves and the have-nots. And again, I'm just thankful that I'm in the position I'm in and I'm able to put my family in a position they're in, because I really worry about people who aren't in that space. And I hope and pray that people are looking out for them and doing what needs to be done for them.
Right.
Absolutely. So let me ask you guys this, going back into the sports world with this thing. Do you see sports continuing this year?
I'm not as optimistic as I was, say, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's one of the things that I was listening to a talk show today, and it was just highlighted how much sports is a part of our lives in terms of just what we do, whether it's on in the background when you're cooking or washing dishes or doing whatever it is that you do, how much sports is a part of what we do, regardless of the sport, whether it's horse racing, whether it's basketball, basketball, football, whatever it is, and it's a big void. And so people, of course, want that void to be filled, not with something random, but with what they want, what they love, what they've become accustomed to. So I'm not as optimistic as I was 3 or 4 weeks ago. I just like you alluded to a little earlier, Earl, is that I don't want somebody to say, "Cool, let's just bring it all back," and then all of a sudden it just ends up making it worse than it was.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure that we're being as cautious and as cautious as we can be.
So Sean, I know you got a lot of ideas in that head.
Some good,
Give
some
me
bad.
give me one of your ideas that I know you've been thinking about, because I know you. What you've been thinking about as far as what the NBA or any one of these leagues can do to come back, because I'm hearing a bunch of crazy stuff that these leagues are saying they can try to do, like what's that? The cruise ships. Put the West on the cruise ship and East on the cruise ship. Somebody said build a court on the cruise ship.
Oh no. Okay, so
They
I'm not
did
gonna
that once.
I'm not gonna go like that. Before I get into any crazy ideas, I think my hope is that COVID-19 follows the seasonal trend that the colds and the flus do, especially in Arizona, where we see once we get to the Mays and Junes of the year that stuff kind of goes down as the heat kind of kills it. It isn't always the same in other parts of the world and whatnot, but my hope is that the heat would actually kind of affect this and drown this out to where it wouldn't be a question that you have to go through some of these crazy ideas. You can maybe, if you're the MLB, you can recoup some games here and there late. If you're the NBA, maybe you cut some games and just go right into playoffs or what have you. The NFL, I think the NFL, as far as ideas go, they're doing their best to kind of act like they're going to keep going, in my opinion. Short of they're doing the draft virtually, which you could argue could happen every year anyway, but they're right now acting like everything's fine, all is well. We're doing a new technology thing, and it's not really COVID related. So as far as the other two, well, the main one is the NBA, right? Because that's current. I would say crazy idea. I'm not putting them on a cruise ship. No, I think maybe you give them, 5 games. I don't know. It's so hard because there's teams like the Suns that were maybe going to be in the hunt late.
Right.
They're going to get jobbed by that no matter what. Oh, don't act like you got nothing. Lakers fan that just got good again. Come on.
All right, let me ask you this, Greg. Let me ask you this.
I'm here.
We beef all the time.
I'm gonna ask all you guys to answer this question. If we don't have NBA basketball and we don't have MLB, or we don't have all these sports for the whole year, what's the most disappointing thing that you were looking forward to seeing happen this year? The most disappointing thing that you would have to deal with in the sports world?
Are you kidding me? Is Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins?
Oh, that's my dog right there.
Yep.
Are you kidding? Is there any other choice right now? Look, I love LeBron James, right? I love LeBron James. I love Magic Johnson. I love Kobe Bryant. I love Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Cooper, Michael Thompson, Gail Goodrich, Jerry West. We can do this. But I hate the Lakers. Like, they could lose every game forever.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
worried about the Lakers. But let me say, the thing I would be most disappointed in is not getting to see the second year of the air raid. And it's hard, right? Because I'm trying to because I don't want the expectations to build up so where it's unreasonable that no matter what they do, we're going to be let down by it.
Right.
But that's the best wide receiver in the NFL with a very dynamic offense, a running back who was averaging 5.2 a carry, a touchdown every game. Man, you put that with Christian Kirk, you put that with Larry Fitzgerald, maybe Andy Isabella can catch all of a sudden, and we've got something to watch, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step in here and give you mine, which that's actually the one that's gonna top everything, because that's exactly what I'm thinking. But before that, I would be disappointed not getting to see the outcome of that Laker Clipper thing.
Yeah.
That I mean, Kawhi versus LeBron.
Right. That's fair.
Which LA team was really better? I mean, because we saw the Clippers dominate early, and then we seen the Lakers get that win, and one game got postponed because of the Kobe thing. So, but I would love to see how that would have turned out. Was the Lakers going to be able to actually get that title the way Kawhi goes after a title? I don't know.
That was going to be interesting because I wasn't. I mean, of course, being a Laker fan, I wasn't necessarily sold that the Lakers are just going to walk through and that anything was guaranteed. So that's
You've always been that way, though. I got to give you that as a Laker fan. You've never been that. Oh, we got this, we got that. He's just been like, okay.
Listen, it's the instant somebody tells me they're a fan of the team, I change everything about their analysis because there's going to be that sense of self-preservation. They're like, I don't want to get too far in front of this. I'm going to get myself let down. Now, I'll tell you right now, I'm a Lions fan. I think they're going to go 0-16 every year. Like, I grew up with that team. Like, that's...
We don't blame you on that one.
A whole lot I say about the Lions with anything other than... Like, I just need a hug when I talk about those guys, right? Like, what I'm telling you about is, like, my trauma and my pain of being a little boy and watching my uncles and my father ready to throw a TV through a window. You know what I'm saying? Like, that affects you.
That's what Wayne Fonts will do to you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yo, but why is that the best coach I've seen in that franchise in my whole 41 years, right? Let me tell you about the Lions' dysfunction. The Lions were so dysfunctional that the Lions had a coach named Wayne Fonts. He hired his brother to help coach his defense. His brother's name was Lenny Fontes. They couldn't agree on how to pronounce their own last name. That's how dysfunctional the Detroit Lions are. Don't get me started. We can do this for a while.
I'm sorry about that, Jay. Go ahead and finish your
No, that's it. Yeah.
No, just rewind just a touch. Because of the basketball and the cruise ships, remember they did that, I want to say it was roughly 10 years ago. They put it on an aircraft carrier. It was Michigan State versus like North Carolina.
Super cool.
And they had the military-style uniforms on. The thing I wouldn't like about that in particular is that every time you get out of a basketball arena, the shooting percentages drop, right? Like if you put it in a basketball, like in a football stadium, the sight lines are messed up. Guys can't shoot. You put it in the ocean, it's going to be that much worse. Here's the solution, right? Because nobody cares about baseball anyway. Just do a home run derby, right? And just have like 5 guys just like rotate around doing home run derbies. Same thing in the NBA. Just do like a bunch of 3-point shootouts. Like if you just are jonesing for it that bad, you just got to have something. Get creative. Do a little something because a little something's better than a lot of nothing. It'll be competition. We'll get our fix. We'll recognize it as the holdover that it is. But yeah, just get loose. Play horse. You wouldn't watch Devin Booker light up LeBron James in a game of horse? I would watch
I would watch that
all day.
Yeah, they got to get creative like that because that's about what it's going to come down to. You can't have an actual NBA game break out. There's no way. I don't see them being able to control this virus to the point where you can have an actual NBA game. I just don't see it happening.
And not till the doctors say so.
Exactly. Sean, did you have anything that was disappointing?
Missing out on potentially Kyler with his new weapon as well as the GOAT still going on the field. And maybe the Lakers losing, and definitely I would say the Dodgers imploding in the World Series again. I'm disappointed I don't get to see that. It's all good. The Suns maybe ending in the 10th spot in the West would have been nice. It's disappointing I don't get to see that as well. Those would probably be my top 5.
But real quick, let me say this, though. Here's the thing. So you mentioned Kyler and obviously and DeAndre, but here's the interesting thing. Would Cliff go back to his old tendencies? Because what we saw last season was that it seemed that he was trying to adjust and learn on the fly and being able to use the personnel that he had to be able to try different things, like the 10 personnel, those types of things. So trying different things. But sometimes if you get that shiny new toy, you say, nah, what we did last season, I ain't doing that no more, dog. We doing exactly what I was supposed to do. And so it's what would the temptation do to him? That will be curious.
4 verticals every play.
Absolutely.
Go.
You listening to the Casual Sports Show right here on KSRN. We got Greg Moore, we got Jay Adams, and of course, Earl Burnett, Sean McConnell. Stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about a little bit of the draft and what to expect from our Arizona Cardinals. If you guys can hang around, we'll be right back.
Smith, host of the Easy Sports Talk Show. In addition to hosting the show every Saturday, did you know I'm also an inspirational and motivational speaker. Utilizing life experience in my 15-year professional sports career, I offer programs to a wide variety of audiences. Tips from the locker room to the boardroom and beyond. Whether you're a corporate organization or faith-based organization, Ed Smith Speaks can customize team-building, motivational, and inspirational tips. I'd love to come inspire and motivate your group to create lifelong shining moments. To learn more about booking me for your event, visit Ed Smith. Contact me at edsmithspeaks.com.
Merry New Year! In this country, we say happy. Happy New Year!
From all of us here at Casual Sports Radio Network.
Goes yonder.
Thy sire, Richard of Nottingham.
Well, speak up, man. What is it?
News from the east, sire.
Larry!
This is Larry Fitzgerald. You listen to the exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, Casual Sports.
All right, welcome back into the Kazual House. A little technical difficulty there, but we are back. All right, fellas, are you guys still with me there?
Hey, man, I think I just got booted from the call. I'm getting them back in real quick.
Okay, cool.
There we go. We're back.
All right, back in.
Yes, sir.
All right. Before we get into the Cardinals, Greg, I want to ask you. I want to get your take on Tom Brady. And, and do you think that this, him going to Tampa Bay, is he going to be the same Tom Brady and just going to fall into place and do the same Tom Brady things that everybody expects him to do, or will we see another quarterback struggle in Bruce Arians' system in the first year?
Wizards. Wizards.
Wizards. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
I could not believe that it actually happened.
Me either.
For me, the only thing I kept thinking was, this is not, like, there's no way. And so when it happened, it took me a while just to even process that reality.
Right.
Tom Brady is doing something unprecedented, right? He'll be 43 when the season starts. I love that as motivation. Like,
Okay.
What if you told me I'm 41? What if you told me, hey, Greg, you can't do your job anymore because you're 41. You just got to go.
Yes.
What you talking about? I'm better today than I was 5 years ago. I'm better today than I was 10 years ago. I'm at my peak. I'm booming. I'm only going to get better.
Right.
And so that would give me the motivation to figure out a way to make it happen.
Okay.
I think that Bruce Arians' system is player-centric. And I think that Bruce Arians is going to create a system that puts Tom Brady in Tom Brady's best spot. Let's not overlook the reality that he's had Ben Roethlisberger. Let's not overlook the reality that he was in Indianapolis. Let's not overlook the reality that he did get some great years out of Carson Palmer. Let's not overlook the reality that my man wrote a book called The Quarterback Whisperer, right?
Right.
We can say what we want about Jameis throwing the ball to the wrong team, but he also threw for 5,000 yards.
True.
I think that Tom Brady is in a position to have a lot of success early and a lot of success all season long. I do not think he's going to struggle in the first year. I don't think he's going to struggle in the second year. I think Tom Brady is going to do this for as long as his body will hold up. And I think that Bruce Arians is going to tailor a system that's going to take advantage of Tom Brady's strengths. I'm predicting success.
That's a good point. I looked at it the same way. I said, to me, I don't think he can come in and do Bruce Arians' system, chuck it downfield, deep every play. You know, I don't think Brady can do that anymore.
Right.
I mean, he had Moss back in the day. That was his only year I can remember him really just throwing it deep and just chucking it downfield. But
right.
I think, that idea of bringing Edelman there would have been perfect, because that would have made his success, even his success rate would have been way higher, because you got to tailor the offense, like you said, it's some way around what he does, what he's been doing all of his career. So, I can see BA, of course, because we know BA's not calling the plays right now. It's Byron Leftwich. So I think he would lean more on, hey, what do you do? What do you like to do? What do you want? And find somebody on that team that can be his Wes Welker, his Julian Element, all those that middle slot guy is important to him in a system.
So now with Brady, we've seen Brady have success with lots of different types of wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
Gronk and Hernandez were one type. Randy Moss was another type. Troy Brown's another type. Wes Welker's another type. Like, there's a lot of different types of wide receivers that Brady's been able to find. What this tells me, and I've only watched Tom Brady casually. I've never broken down film on him to see what he's doing. But if you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, if you look at his passing percentage, if you look at his quarterback rating, it's telling me that he's making good decisions. Now, it also tells me that he's had time to do it.
Correct.
I've read enough about the Tampa offensive line to believe that the offensive line is not going to be a liability there. This tells me that Tom Brady is going to know where a route will break open, where the windows will be, and that he's got enough ability to hit those windows. I think he's going to be fine. I really am looking forward to seeing this season. So Cam Newton to the Patriots, right?
It should be. It should be. You
Ooh.
cannot think that this team is going to just lean on a second-year quarterback and a guy we know what you're getting in that other guy. Yeah, I know. I know. There's no way.
Unless you want to throw Garoppolo and Matt Castle out there.
Right.
I don't think anybody saw Matt Castle do I don't think anybody would have predicted that, right? So I think that Belichick maybe can get more out of his guys. Belichick's system is you, right? So this is the weird thing about Belichick. He figures out what you're good at and what you're bad at, and then he attacks your weaknesses, right?
Correct.
Which is crazy, because we just said that most good offenses, most good teams tailor this to the strengths of their personnel. Well, Bill Belichick tailors it to your weaknesses. That, to me, is an amazing thing, and that's going to put quarterbacks in position for success regardless of their talent level.
Right.
That said, give me Cam, man. What are we doing here? This is Cam Newton. Go get him.
Right. So piggybacking off of that, Sean and I had a show last week, and we spoke about Brady versus Belichick. And my take on that was the system made the quarterback. That's fact. I don't see Brady as talented superstar athlete. I see Brady as 6th-round pick, like you just said, put in a system to say, what's your best your best characteristics, your best this, and do that, and you'll be successful. The system made that quarterback. I think Belichick could do without Brady more than Brady can do without Belichick. That's just my opinion. What about you, Jay?
I think it's the hardest thing in the world. I don't care if you coach on the youth level of sports, high school, college, or pros, to do to what Greg was saying in terms of looking at what somebody else does poorly and then tailor your offense or your defense, your game plan around that, as opposed to this is what we do and we're gonna do what we do and you can't stop what we do. That is a skill, and that requires players that are flexible, that are pliable, that are intelligent, and I think that even with the misses that he's had, that Bill Belichick is superior, far and away superior in that way.
Absolutely. What about you, Sean? I know we were on that last week.
Yeah, we were on that last week. I'm actually really interested to see Tom Brady and his new safety blanket and OJ Howard. I mean, that's going to be a match made in heaven. As far as what Belichick's going to be able to do with scraps, probably a lot. But if he gets Cam Newton, it's like Jacoby Brissett on steroids, man. So if he gets Cam Newton, that's going to be good too, because that guy's just a freight train moving the ball. So I'd love to see both teams play together. I'd love to see it be a clash, but it's not going to be like it was with the Rams and the Chiefs when they went 50 apiece or whatever it was. It's going to be more like a 10-7 just smashing. I don't know who gets the edge. I always want to lean towards Belichick because, like Greg said, he's so good at dissecting your weaknesses and then just punishing you for it. Because you as a team, you know your weaknesses, and you go into a game plan going, man, I hope they don't exploit this. I hope they don't know that this guy can't run or this guy can't catch, and then that's all that they give you all day long, and you just can't make it work.
I got you guys. I'm picking Belichick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's gonna cheat. Like if you got two guys who are kind of even, give me the cheater, right? Like,
that's true. That's true.
Now listen. Now let's be serious about this for a second. I don't condone that, right? If cheating is a part of your culture, get that crap out of here. I don't want to teach that to my kids. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to root for it. I don't want to be a part of it. But if you're gonna cheat, that's gonna create an advantage for you if the other guy isn't, right? And Belichick's a cheater. He's a cheater. He's a pumpkin eater, right? He's a liar and his pants are on fire. Like, we know this.
Yep.
We've seen this happen time and time
Those
again.
are the facts.
It was on his watch, right?
Yeah.
It was on his watch. We saw Deflategate. We saw
all the gates.
We saw we've seen this, right? Okay. So now that I think about it, though, maybe Brady cheated too. Maybe Brady deflated the balls. There's my pick. If I had to pick one, I think the cheating scandals are more tied to Belichick than they are to Tom Brady. I'm going to give the edge to Belichick because he's going to be willing to cheat, but I can't stand cheating. I'm all about fair play. I don't like it.
Yeah, I hear you. But when you look at the whole thing,
Pumpkin
actually,
eater.
Belichick has been already proven that his system works regardless of who his quarterback is.
Real quick.
20 years ago, he did that with Brady. So, go ahead.
What was the interesting thing to me is that Brady, there was all this talk about the Raiders, there was talk about the Titans, there was talk about the Chargers, and
not about the
it's
Bucs.
like Brady was the dude saying, nah, I got, old girl over there, yeah, she like me, I'm going to take her to prom. And old girl ain't tripping on you. So you end up taking your fourth choice to prom because choice 1, 2, and 3 wasn't feeling you.
Right.
So you got to try to make it seem like, yeah, all along I wanted the girl with the third ear growing out of her forehead. And of course I was trying to roll with her. That's why it's good.
No.
That's what Brady was doing, man. I'm just, it's just.
Tampa's not that bad.
All right. And let me go ahead and switch gears to the Cardinals, the last segment here. All the moves that we made as far as the trade, we already know the trade. And we stacked up the offensive line, bringing back some guys that were already, part of our free agency. So where do you see us going in the draft, Greg? I mean, because we don't really have that desperate need. I mean, they've done some moves. They've put some defensive moves. They put offensive linemen. We got everything. They got the receiver. Of course, we know they got the receiver. So now, where do you go in the draft?
All right. So maybe if you've got everything you need, the one thing you need is chemistry, right? So that means CD. That means you need Kyler's buddy from Oklahoma. You're just gonna stock that position and just go crazy. Now, if it's me, I'm going linebacker. I like the kid from Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. I like him a lot. I was able to see him in the Fiesta Bowl. I was able to sit down and talk to him a little bit. Really good head on his shoulders 7 or 8 minutes of conversation I had with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But watching the dude on the field, I think the kid's the goods. I don't imagine that cornerback from Ohio State, Okuda's still going to be there. But if he somehow falls down, I don't think you can let him pass up, even though you drafted Murphy last year, even though you've still got Pat P. I think that there's some guys who are so talented that you've just got to make that move if they're sitting there. But if you're asking me what to do if the linebacker from Clemson's there, that's where I go.
That's considering if he's there, because I don't think he's going to be there. And so in my last mock draft, I have the Cardinals taking Okuda.
Yeah.
Because when you line, it's either Okuda or, like you said, the CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be those two choices. Because when you line everything up, I can't see the teams ahead of us or before us passing up on the talent you're talking about in Simmons and the talent you're talking about in Brown. Those players are dying. They don't just fall off trees. You got to when they're there to take, you take them. And all of my mock drafts has been based on the best player on the board, period. So, and those couple of those offensive linemen are dynamic. 2 of them, Wills and Worse. So
I like that kid Thomas from Georgia. I've been reading about him for a while, and I saw him in a couple of games. I think the kid Thomas from Georgia is pretty good.
Somebody's going to take an offensive lineman. Maybe Giants. Somebody's going to take one. So the Cardinals are going to be looking at, like you said, best player on the board from my aspect. I think it should be best player on the board. It's going to be either going to be choices between Okuda and CeeDee Lamb, and that's how I see it. But what about you, Jay?
I can't. I take it from a different perspective. It's because all those players, those choices that you have. I mean, those are all good choices. You just don't know how. One of the things that Ed, my partner Ed Smith, talks about is you can't measure somebody's heart. I mean, you can ask all the questions in the world, you can't measure their heart. But one of the other variables is you don't know how somebody's going to react to having the most money they've ever had in their life, and how they're going to react to it. Because a person that has the most that makes the most sound decisions now got a few more commas in their bank account. So you know that they have they're a tactician on the field, or they do well in the in terms of in the playbook, and they know the plays, and they know the game. But I got some more money, and I know these. I want to get some of these whips, and I want to get these women are trying to holler at me. You never know how that's going to affect somebody, and that's the toughest part about being a GM, because you never know how somebody's going to react to being injured. Like when they drafted Cooper a few years ago, everything was measuring good, everything was projecting well. He gets injured, and he's never the same. He's nowhere near the player that he was before.
I'm kind of glad
that's hard to say.
I'm glad you said that, because now I love where the draft is now, where they don't have to do all of that psychoanalyzing every person, because you can think long and think wrong, and we've seen it. So now you have to look at what's on that board and go by tape and tape and tape and watching more tape and more tape and more tape.
Sometimes the more tape that you watch, though, and you guys know better than I do, you convince yourself, nah, he's not. I like him just a little bit better, or he's that. You try to convince yourself of to convince yourself of the negative, or sometimes try to find the positive in somebody that has more negatives than positive, and all those types of things.
You guys are raising good points. I've heard that talked about quite a bit, to the point of measuring somebody's heart, to the point of measuring somebody how they're going to react to the first time getting that kind of money. I like the way James Jones does it with the Suns.
Yep.
James Jones just goes and brings in a bunch of straight A dudes, right? Like if you look at the guys that have come in under his watch, they're not these athletic freaks. They're not these amazing marvels of, wow, could you see what he could do physically? It's like, no, he's just a little bit taller than average, and he does what he's supposed to do when he's supposed to do it, and his parents go everywhere with him. Let's get that guy. Right. So
right.
I would hit the easy button on that, right? Like give me the best on the board, and whichever one has the best grades, like the one who's always in the right spot, give me that guy.
Right.
Sure indeed.
Good. Man, there was something that started brewing in my head about the Cardinals system. That had me, okay, I know we want CeeDee Lamb. We wanted, the guys we're going to take, but I was listening to somebody on the radio, and he had a good. I'm saying, man, and I had to go back and look at the tape on this kid. Henry Ruggs the third in our system would be freaking awesome.
So it's funny because I was just sitting here thinking, I wonder why we're not talking about Jerry Jeudy right now. So
exactly,
yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So I like Ruggs because Ruggs is giving us that Tyreek Hill, and we're copying the team that won the Super Bowl. Everybody's going to copy that team pretty much.
Sure.
But in our offense, if you can have that speed guy like that, oh my God, I'm like, wow. But I would not take him at 8. Now you can try to trade down or something like that and get in the number 15 or somewhere around there and grab him. But man, I said to put him in our offense is like, look out. So, I mean, Jerry Jeudy to me would be he has more of a learning curve than CeeDee Lamb would. So that's why I would go with CeeDee Lamb over Jeudy.
Based
and I
on
would
your
take
personnel.
Ruggs just because, hey, you can tell Speed just run that 9 route and you just do that. You can tell Speed to do that. So Jerry Jeudy, he's a dynamic receiver. He's a dynamic route runner, but I think he'll have too much of a learning curve coming in with this system. So that's my
all right. You guys want to have some fun with it? How about you trade down and just draft Brandon Ayuk?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
And you know why? Because we need a freaking kick returner and a punt returner.
Yeah. If it's just for that, I'm fine with that too.
When was the last time we ran a punt or kickback since David Johnson's
Peterson's rookie year, I think.
Yeah,
man, right.
For a punt at least.
Okay, but also if you put weapons all out there, right? You get the defense all discombobulated. You create a little bit of space and you come sliding out, hit him in the flat. I dare you to try to tackle that guy with a linebacker. So I'm just saying, if that's what you're looking for system fit, especially if you can create some advantage, get yourself a bunch more picks. Again, though, for me, guys, I hit the easy button on this. If there's talent at the top of the board and you believe that these guys are talented, you look at them, you say, okay, which one is the best? And then which one has the best grades, right? And I'm not joking about that grades thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Grades don't tell me how smart you are. Grades tell me how dedicated you are.
And
do you go where you're supposed to go when you're supposed to go there, right? Are you there every day on time, right? Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Are you sitting in the front row? Did you go to class with your khakis on, or were you in there with a t-shirt? I want to know that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Give me that guy, and he's talented. You got a 10-year pro.
Yes, true. That's a good point, man. Okay, fellas, I got to do this. Last week we didn't do a segment we normally do that we call when people are just doing stupid stuff and can't, they make a dumb decision over here. You give them a new name, and their new name is Can't Get Right. And so we got a segment called Can't Get Right. And so you got to come up with somebody you think all week long, or you can think back, because we didn't do a show last week. It can be 2 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. Somebody that just can't get it right. So hold on a second. Let me get that going.
Here's to those who just
Must mean can't get right. No, can't get right. You can't get right. You
can't get right.
My guy that I got to say was, it happened a couple of weeks ago, but DeAndre Hopkins wanted to get this story. Michael Irvin went and just prided this story out of DeAndre Hopkins, and with the guy with the biggest mouth in the dang on media gets the story and goes ahead and embellishes it a little bit more. And now Hopkins has to come back and say, come on, you blowing it out of proportion. He didn't want him to get that story out. So I got to say Michael Irvin can't get it right by holding information when your homeboy trying to tell you what happened. You don't got to go put it out in the freaking media like that. That's how I see that. Michael Irvin spit that stuff out, and Hopkins like, dude, calm down, dude. I didn't want him to get it that crazy. He told him something in confidence, and dude went on there and was like, I told you, blah, 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 blah. You know how Irv do. What you got, Sean? I know you got something.
Oh, man. I mean, it's hard for players to get in trouble right now. We're all locked in our houses, but I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go with Bill O'Brien. Just can't get right. The man can't trade talent away to save his life. He goes and gets rid of Clowney. He gets rid of Hopkins. Before you know it, Watson's going to be leaving for a pair of heels so Bill O'Brien can go walk the streets. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel bad for the Texans fans, man. I feel bad.
Give me one, Jay.
All right, so I got this one's going to AB, so Antonio Brown, because we know we know Bruce Arians. If you ask him if you ask him a question, he gonna give you a
Oh
what.
yeah.
So when he was trying to be diplomatic about it earlier this week, when they had the press conference with Brady, and they asked him, "So do you think that AB will be able to come in?" No, we don't got room. And so the guy pressed him a little bit more, and he said, "No. So if you got rid of this and you do have room and you could get him in, what do you think?" Nah, man, he just ain't gonna fit. He just ain't. I know that dude. Essentially, he said, "I know this dude. He ain't. That's not that dude we want." So
Okay.
AB, you're right. No matter what,
He would know better than anybody.
What you got, Greg?
Well, we could do this a couple different ways.
Okay.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred.
There you go.
Attendance in his sport is declining.
Right.
His
Heavily.
diversity numbers are abysmal. There
Okay.
are 2 black managers.
Wow.
There are 2 black men running baseball operations.
Mm-hmm.
Only 8% of the players in Major League Baseball are black, and they haven't had a black catcher in about 15 years. That's real.
that's real. Yeah.
Man.
They got fans getting hit upside the head with errant foul balls, and he
Right.
doesn't just say, "Everybody, stop what you're doing and
put
extend
the
the
freaking
net,
net up.
all
Yeah.
the way out." Okay, all right. And then he's got a cheating scandal in which he allows the team to keep the trophy and then calls the World Series trophy
Oh
a
man.
piece of metal.
That's good. That's good.
I'm sorry, I don't care about baseball anymore. Loved it.
Right.
Loved baseball.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that they can shift and put guys all over the place, and so amazing plays by the likes of like Ozzie Smith, you can't have it anymore? Guys don't steal bases like Vince Coleman and Willie McGee anymore. You got to either hit a home run or you strike out, so there's no room in the sport for Tony Gwynn or Wade Boggs or, you know
Man.
what? Keep it. Have it, Rob
Wow.
Manfred. And I tell you what,
His
tell
name
you
ain't Rob Manfred anymore. It's Can't Get Right.
this can't get right. They need to take him to Cleveland, sit him down, and let all the fans just say whatever they need to say. He needs to just sit there and take it for a whole series.
There you go.
Baseball needs to get itself together, and that starts at the top.
There you go. Hey, that's a perfect
Mic
way to
drop.
end that.
Mic drop, man.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming in, man. That's Greg Moore from AZ Central. That's Javon Adams, a.k.a. J-LUV from Easy Sports Talk. I am Earl Burnett. He is Sean McConnell on the Casual Sports Show. We'll catch you guys next week. Look us up on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube page, all with the same tag. Casual Sports, Kazual with the Z at the end of the word sports. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
See you.
Rookie.